So, absolutely move your body every day for the wonderful health benefits and also for the beautiful energy flow that will just raise your vibrations. Hello, welcome to Grace Bell. My name is Natalie Grace, and here we explore all simple delights of everyday life. And today we are talking about simple, joyful, healthy living and my 8 or 9 guiding principles for living your most healthy, joyful life um, simply. So let's get into it. Please know first that I am not an expert. My university degree in health studies just does not make me an expert, but I am just sharing my personal roadmap based on my knowledge, experience, and lessons I've learned. And while these concepts are not groundbreaking, I wouldn't say, I just hope by sharing that something resonates with you in a special way you need to hear. All right, so principle number one is to move your body every day, no matter what. Whether that is walking for groceries, a dedicated spin class, or just cleaning your house, make sure to move your body. There is no pill on the market that can provide better short term and long term benefits than exercise. And if there was, can you just imagine how expensive that pill would be? And yet, most of us have this at our fingertips every day. I heard this on an Irish RTE news program, and it just like really sunk in with me. Um, Everything from our brain, heart, muscles, hormones, cells, everything in our body benefits from exercise. And obviously, that is like amazing information to know. Like, I love exercising, knowing all the positive things that are happening in my body. That is very joyful to know. But my real joy and motivation for moving every day really comes down to the energy flow that happens during exercise. And the endorphins that come. And I can pretty much say with certainty that I feel more energized, mentally clear, or creatively inspired after exercise. And if I'm stuck on something, then I almost just know I'm going to gain like this mental clarity after I move my body. And I really feel like that is one, endorphins, but also just this flow of energy that needs to be released through your body. Movement is literally unlocking stuck energy. If the word exercise feels like a chore, then just ditch that word and look at moving as an opportunity to clear your head, listen to your favorite music, maybe get outside, raise your energy vibrations. And now exercise feels like a gift, and it really is one. So, absolutely move your body every day for the wonderful health benefits and also for the beautiful energy flow that will just raise your vibrations. Principle number two, and I might lose some people here, but I'll say it anyways, is pausing from food and drink, aka fasting. So I am hesitant to use the word fasting because I know that it means different things to different people, and I don't want to sound extreme when I say fasting. I really just mean fasting in the most basic sense, which is just a daily pause from consuming food and drink, except for water. I like to have milk in my tea. Like, I'm not giving that up. But just a daily pause, whether that's 12 hours or 16, anything beyond 16 hours, I'm not really talking about. That's kind of like beyond the purpose of this point. But really, there's loads of research to support the health benefits of fasting just 12 hours, even, including regulating blood sugar levels, balancing hormones, weight management, enhancing sleep. It basically just gives your body this opportunity to cleanse and replenish. And with a normal sleep cycle, a 12-hour fast is really quite natural. We can stop eating at 7:30 p.m. and start eating again at 7:30 a.m. And you're already getting a lot of benefits just from that. And I can definitely speak to fasting helping me feel better in my body and just having a better relationship with food. Like I'm just more conscious and aware of what I'm eating. But truly, I think that the real joy that I've experienced from fasting isn't like necessarily abstaining from food. Like I love food. I'm such a foodie. But the joy that I've received from fasting is really the deepening of my faith and spirituality. And this isn't really something I anticipated when I started, implementing a fasting lifestyle, but it's been a really beautiful result. And it just opens up this space for me to shift my focus from feeding my belly to feeding my soul. So instead of thinking about food and what I'm going to make and all that, I just direct my energy and attention towards things that are truly more meaningful and satisfying in the long term. It's quite amazing how much food can consume our brain. So I'm a big supporter of just having that daily pause from food and drink, for one, to support a healthy mind and body, and two, because it helps us direct our attention towards other things and to find ways to satisfy our soul instead of our belly. The last thing I just want to say with fasting though is, obviously have wisdom. Like I did not fast while I was pregnant or when I was like in the early days of breastfeeding. There's always going to be exceptions and times to evaluate your unique situations. So principle number 3 is to eat real food and plenty of color. So I have never done well with restricting myself from food groups. As I was just saying, I'm a big foodie. I love to explore and try new recipes. So setting strict limits typically just sets me up to fail. But I can compensate by rejecting unnecessary ingredients and choosing real wholesome food as much as possible. And generally, this helps me cook more and eat packaged box food less. And this this helps me be more aware of what I'm eating and help to limit preservatives and additives and just excessive levels of sugar and salt that are often found in those packaged foods. Don't get me wrong, like I know that there are some wonderful, innovative food brands who are making really healthy, tasty, prepared options. So that is wonderful. I am not saying to rule that out. People have busy lives and healthy, prepared options are a gift. But I also do cook for the joy it brings me and to reduce costs. Next to that point, obviously, the healthy food that we choose is very important. As much as I could eat croissants and fresh bread all day. So, a philosophy that I've always loved is to eat the rainbow and just welcome plenty of colorful fruits and veggies into your diet next to everything else. And I think that people can sometimes feel like eating fruits and veggies, it can sound boring, especially if it's just like alone, but it does not have to be at all. One of my favorite snacks is just roasting broccoli in the oven with olive oil and salt. I will eat this like French fries, and I don't really like broccoli raw. So just find healthy food you love. A little bit of food prep can go a really long way. Instead of opting for an easy bag of chips, you can opt for something just as tasty that's a lot healthier as long as you prepped it beforehand. So that's just my advice for philosophy number 3: eat real food and plenty of color. And the best part is that the more we choose real, wholesome food, the more our body begins to crave it. Principle number 4 is to set boundaries with social media. So, I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with social media when it's done mindfully. It's a little like eating a cookie. Some are healthy and nourishing, but not all cookies are made equal. And consuming an entire box is going to make you sick no matter what ingredients are inside. So, similarly, just be mindful of what you're consuming on social media. Is it generally positive and inspiring, or is it a breeding ground for lowering your self esteem and self worth? And how much time are you spending on it? Because what we feed our mind matters. It's all part of your mind, body, and spirit. And We don't have control over everything on social media, but we certainly have an influence over our experience through the accounts we follow and how much time we spend on it. And so these apps, at the end of the day, like, they're designed to be addicting. So my best advice is to be intentional and set boundaries. And whether that's setting a daily limit or unfollowing certain accounts, you know what makes the most sense for you in your life. And I believe that having these boundaries is the key to getting joy from it. I'll just end by saying, use it, don't let it use you. That's it. Principle number 5 is to get outside. No matter the weather, spend time outdoors and ideally in the sun. Winters in Canada can make this tough, but I always notice a happy shift in my energy after being outside, no matter the conditions. Unless it's like very dangerous outside, stormy, haily, or bad air quality. That's really the only exception. Otherwise, there's just so many benefits to being outdoors. Natural sunlight releases dopamine and supports our circadian rhythm, helping us focus when we need to and sleep more soundly. And research shows that the sights and sounds of nature also help to calm our brain and support the release of serotonin. And then just getting outside earlier than later just means that those wonderful benefits kick in sooner to carry you throughout the day. So if you can get outside earlier than later, then that's wonderful. But getting outside in general is, that's worth it alone. Just get outside. It also just invites more opportunity for spontaneous joy in your day. Maybe it's exploring a new shop or a street you've never wandered down. Just, take note of the simple beauty around you that you may have taken for granted before. God didn't need to make flowers beautiful, and yet there they are. Get out, say hello to the world around you. Maybe you will be the light in someone else's day. You won't know unless you get out. Principle number 6 is to stay hydrated and make water your best friend. All right. Water might not be the most exciting friend at the party, granted. Coffee, soda, sugary drinks, wine maybe, they probably top that contest. Fair enough. But water is that steadfast, loyal friend we all need and depend on. It gives and gives and tirelessly nourishes us without asking for anything in return. It's a true friend. But no, truly, clean water is a precious gift. And everything from our brain to our muscles and hormones depends on water to function. I don't think I really need to dive into the details on water being vital. I think that is known to anyone watching that we need water to survive. But I will just say that not consuming enough water is going to undermine your other efforts towards health. There's nothing good about being dehydrated. There's nothing joyful about dehydration. So obviously, make sure you're drinking enough water for your body. There's lots of online calculators you can do, but also just be mindful of things that dehydrate you, like coffee and sugary drinks and alcohol, and consume them with extra care, especially alcohol. Realistically, not drinking should just be a principle on this list, but I have to be realistic that sometimes I do enjoy a glass of wine. I don't think that I need to absolutely remove it from my life, but that is just for me personally. Everyone is going to have a different kind of relationship that they have to assess with alcohol. But I will just say that consume alcohol with extra care and consume anything that dehydrates you with care. And it's always a good idea to match whatever you're drinking with water. Just keep water close. Keep water as like a close best friend. It's always going to be there for you. It's always there to replenish and nourish you. Make sure that you're keep leaving water in places that make it easy for you to drink, like on your desk or in the car or on your beside your bed, anywhere that you can remind yourself, because every part of your body will thank you. As the saying goes, Water is life. Okay, principle number 7 is to honor sleep and rest. So I am out of a pretty sleep deprived stage of my life with a young baby. So the importance of sleep has never been more fresh in my mind, crystal clear. No, thankfully I am out of that stage by now, but it really wasn't that long ago. And sleep is so important. It's our body's reset button. It's crucial for proper functioning of pretty much everything in our body, from our physical health to mental health. We don't all require the same hours of sleep, but the most important thing is to listen to your body and honor what supports your best sleep in the best way you know how. So for me, a lot of this comes down to avoiding temptations like eating heavy meals right before bed or snacking late, watching stimulating content, or scrolling on my phone. And all of these things can be replaced quite simply. Like if you are in the habit of snacking late, and I say that because that has always kind of been a challenge for me, snacking late and eating a lot of my food late at night. Fasting definitely helped to curb that habit. But one thing that also helped is I just found a tea that I loved. So I allow myself a splash of milk with that tea, and it's a lavender tea, and that's sort of like my little late night treat. And I try to not eat, or I try to have my dinner about at least 2 hours before bed. I do make sure it's like a substantial dinner because you don't want to get hungry in the night. That's not going to help your sleep. And even just if you are in the habit of reading the news or watching content, maybe instead have a journal beside you or read something light. I don't know why it is, but whenever I start reading, I just fall asleep so much faster than when I just start watching something. So yeah, those are all just like little habits that can really support your sleep. I also learned that our most restful sleep happens before midnight. Now, I haven't really done enough research on this topic, but I did really use that to my advantage when I was in that stage with my baby, waking up several times a night, because I did notice that even if I got the same hours of sleep, if I went to sleep before midnight, I just felt a lot more rested. And I know that's not an option for everyone, especially depending on your job. Maybe you can't have that traditional, like, go to sleep at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. And that's fine. I think the most important thing is to just honor your sleep in the best way you know how. It just helps us show up better every day for ourselves, for the people around us. And when things come up that are challenging, we're just more prepared to be able to handle them when we are well rested. Principle number 8 is to rejoice and have a grateful heart. And I truly feel that my last two principles do go kind of hand in hand, but there's enough to talk about with both of them. So I separated them, but just keep that in mind. So being grateful can truly transform your experience. It's not just a nice phrase for a journal cover, but something that programs our brain to think positively and value what is good. So, even if things are not going the way we want, which is going to happen in this life, we can rejoice. We can say, "Thank you, God, for teaching me patience, resilience, discipline, whatever it is." And I do want to be clear that I don't want to mistake gratitude for denying real feelings of sadness, anger, or hurt. Um, that's not healthy, and God sees our heart. So there's just no point in watering down what's going on inside. But once you acknowledge that feeling, seek what is going good and right, because you will find it hard to stay anxious and grateful at the same time. And if you are struggling to pull from your gratitude bank, because I get it, like sometimes you are in a tough place and it can be a little bit frustrating or patronizing to hear people telling you to be grateful. So if you are in a place where you're kind of struggling to feel grateful, I learned a practice from James Clear that truly transformed the way I think, and it's called inversion thinking. So basically, whatever you're going through, stop and envision the worst case scenario for that thing and just live there for a moment. I know it sounds strange and counterintuitive, like, what are you talking about? Isn't that what we want to avoid? Thinking about the worst case scenario. Where is the joy in that? But trust me, this is powerful. So, here is just a personal example from my life. There are things about our home that I would like to change. The housing market, it's tough right now, and thinking about it a little too long can leave me kind of frustrated and discouraged. But what is the worst case scenario? What do I really not want? Well, the answer is pretty clear. I don't want to be without a home. I don't want to have zero heating in freezing weather. I don't want to be without a warm bed to sleep in tonight. Like, those things are all quite basic. And when I think about that worst case scenario, it's very sobering and grounding because I don't have to drive very far to find many people who would dream of sleeping in a warm bed tonight. And so when you kind of stop and think about the worst case scenario, it really gives you a shift in perspective, and it shines a light on what is going good and right. And what I realized is sometimes being grateful is found in thinking about what we don't want instead of what we want. Because what we want, I mean, the sky can be the limit, especially in today's culture, constantly telling us what we should want. It can seem a little overwhelming. But when we think about what we don't want, it can offer a lot of clarity, and usually the answer is a lot more humbling. The funny thing about gratitude is that nothing changes except for our choice. You know, we can't always change our circumstances and the things that happen to us, but we always have a choice in how we respond. And that changes everything. Okay, finally, principle number 9 is prayer. Along with gratitude, I believe that something divine happens when we release our concerns to God, the great creator, the divine source, whatever higher power resonates with you. Praying or simply talking to God allows us to surrender our thoughts and make space for more productive, uplifting matters to enter our brain. Because the truth is, dwelling about the past or fretting about hypothetical futures, things that haven't happened, it only serves to rob us of our peace and joy, because there's always going to be things in life that are out of our control. And surrendering this control offers this sense of freedom as we come to trust in a plan far beyond our own understanding. In my favorite fiction book, one character has a God box. And so basically, she writes down whatever is on her mind, whatever is concerning her, and she puts it in the box to leave in God's hands. And I just love this. I don't have a physical box, but I do talk to God, and it just gives me this peace of mind when I lay out what's on my mind, no matter how big or small. And the reality is that praying, it doesn't remove my problems, they still exist, but the load feels a lot lighter and answers become clearer than when I don't. Okay, that is it. Those are my 9 guiding principles for choosing health joyfully. I sincerely hope that something resonated with you in a special way you needed to hear. even if it just means embracing your health journey with some more enthusiasm and joy. You know, we are going to face challenges, things that push us, but how we choose to approach anything is really what shapes our day, our week, our year, and our life. I am going to end that here. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to send me a message or leave a comment below. Bye bye.